Very good morning to you all. Welcome back to my channel. So today let's learn passive verb. So this will be for 3 marks. So before going to the examples, let's see what is a passive verb. So how do you change that active voice or active verb to passive verb? So what is a voice? Voice refers to the form of the verb that indicates whether the doer of an action is a subject or an object. ಯಾರು ಒಂದು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಷನ್ನ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಥವಾ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನಾವು ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಟೂ ಕೈಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಯ್ಸಸ್. First one is active voice and second one is passive voice. See, usually 99% when we talk, when we speak, it will be in active voice. ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಬರೆಯೋವಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವು ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸಸ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ವಿ ರೇರ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ದಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್. See, there is a formula. You can't say it as a formula in English. There is a structure for everything. See, ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅನ್ಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಒಂದು ವೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ when you speak? So in what structure you speak? If you make a sentence, in what structure you make a sentence, so that decides whether you're talking in an active voice or in a passive voice. See, in second PUC, it's very basic thing that you people learn. Tumba basic ಆಗಿರೋದು passive voice na ನೀವು ಬರೀತೀರಾ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. And passive voice in depth ಹೋದ್ರೆ it is a very vast syllabus. So what I teach you is that it's a very basic thing. What you have to learn ಈ ಇಯರ್ಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅಷ್ಟನ್ನ I will teach you this time. Okay, so anyhow, there are two kinds of voices. One is active voice and another is passive voice. What is active voice? In these sentences, the subject acts upon object. So first subject irutte, predicate irutte, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು object irutte. So ಅದೇ passive voice ಅಲ್ಲಿ the object, what is this? Object acts upon the subject. Okay, look at the example here. I have written Deepa wrote a letter. A very simple sentence I have written as an example here. Who wrote a letter? Deepa has written a letter, right? So Deepa wrote a letter. So easily you can understand that who has written a letter here. ಯಾರ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ನ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೋ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So who is writing a letter here? Deepa is writing a letter. So Deepa is subject. And this part of the sentence, this is a subject, this part of the sentence is a predicate. ಏನು ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, ದೀಪಾಯಿಂದ ಏನು ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಪ್ರೆಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಪ್ರೆಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಬ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದೀಪಾ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್? ಶಿ ಇಸ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಲೆಟರ್. ಸೊ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಏನು ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ? ಸೊ ಅವಳು ಲೆಟರ್ನ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸಿ who is doing the action? Who is a doer of an action here? Deepa is a doer of an action. So subject is a doer of an action. Now, so what is she doing here? Tense is very important. Verb is very important here. So ಯಾವ tense ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಇದು? Past tense ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, isn't it? She had already written. So she wrote a letter. Wrote is a verb plus letter is object. So this is the structure of active voice. What is the structure of active voice? Subject plus verb plus object. So this is a structure. This is a formula for active voice. Usually we speak in this active voice. Okay. So when you change the same sentence into passive voice, how it can be written? Now you can see the difference here. Here Deepa is subject, wrote is verb, and letter is object in active voice. So but in passive verb, see, object is acting upon the subject here. First object ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ಆಮೇಲೆ subject ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So here I have written a letter was written by Deepa. So this is a passive voice where the meaning doesn't change in the passive voice. The meaning remains the same. ಏನೇ ಬರೀಲಿ ಅದ್ರ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಲೆಟರ್ ದೀಪ ಅಂತ ಬರೆಯೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ Deepa is writing the letter, or Deepa wrote the letter here. So, but the structure will change. That's it. The meaning doesn't change. Only the structure of the sentence will be changed. Okay. How do you write this? Deepa wrote a letter in passive voice. You have to write a object first. Okay. So a letter is object. You have seen here. Letter is an object. Okay. Plus was written. Passive voice will always be in V3 form. V3 is past participle alle baribek now. Okay, so B form auxiliary verb barutte plus V3 bandaga, then it is said to be a passive verb. Passive verb will always be in past participle form. ಇಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಬ್ನ ನಾವು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇದು ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ remain the same. Okay, as I have written wrote here, so what is the past participle? Write, wrote, written. The third one is the past participle, V3 form, right? So write, wrote, written is past participle. So here it takes auxiliary verb plus written by whom it is written. Yarinda, it is an agent. It by with to ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ವರ್ಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏಜೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಮೀಡಿಯೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ನ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಯಾರಿಂದ ಲೆಟರ್ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾರಿಂದ ಲೆಟರ್ who is writing the letter here? So it's by Deepa, right? So by Deepa, who has written the letter? By Deepa. So agent is by here and subject is, it comes to the place of object. That's it. So this is the way you have to write the passive, to change that active to passive voice. So active voice ali, this is a structure of the sentence: subject, verb, object. And what is the passive voice ali, what is the structure? It is a letter was written by Deepa, that is object, verb plus agent plus that is subject. So this is a structure of passive voice. So let's see what are the rules of changing this active to passive. Active in the passive ಗೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಮೈಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಫಾಲೋ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಟೀಚ್ ಯು ನೌ. These are the rules, the basic rules in changing that active voice to passive voice. You can say it's a formation of passive voice, how to form a passive voice, or you can also consider it as basic rules in changing the voice. So these are the 4 basic rules that you have to keep in mind before you change that active to passive voice. See, what is the first one? See, object in the active voice, it becomes the subject in the passive voice. I have told you, Geeta wrote a letter. Geeta is subject, letter is object. Adana passive voicing ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ನಾವು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, so a letter was written by Geeta ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So it interchanges. So the places of that object and subject, it changes in passive voice. Passive active voice ಅಲ್ಲಿ subject ಇರೋದು, passive voice ಅಲ್ಲಿ object ಕಡೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, and object ಇರೋದು active voice ಅಲ್ಲಿ first ಅಲ್ಲೇ subject ಕಡೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So interchanging, you have to interchange. The subject will become the object in passive voice. See, I have written an example here. Man makes machine. It's very simple. This sentence is an active voice. Who makes machine? Man makes machine. Please do keep in mind, when you are changing active voice to passive voice, the most important thing that you have to observe is the tense there. Whether the sentence is in present tense or past tense ಅನ್ನೋದು ತುಂಬ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So accordingly you have to change it. Present tense ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, past tense ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, continuous tense ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲದ್ರ ಮೇಲೂ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು passive voice ಬರೀತೀರಾ, passive voice ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, it depends on the verb in the sentence. Totally depends on the verb in the sentence, tense in the sentence. So you have to remember, you have to change the tense while you are changing that to passive voice. So these are the basic rules you have to remember. See, look at this sentence carefully. I have written, man makes machine. Now tell me, whether the sentence is in present or past tense or continuous tense or future tense, it is in simple present tense. The sentence is in simple present tense. So simple present tense iddaga, how do you change the sentence to passive voice? You first thing is, you know that you have to interchange the subject and object here. See, machine. Here it is an object, this is the subject, and this is verb. It is an active voice. When you change it to passive, machine is made. Look at that. Why I have written is not was? I had written was in the previous sentence and is in this sentence, because that previous sentence I had written Geeta wrote a letter. Wrote is past tense. So I had changed that Geeta was, the letter was written by Geeta anta madidvi. Okay, because was yakaitali, because it was a past tense alittu, simple past tense alittu. Iga ee sentence simple present tense alide. Okay, so always man makes a machine. Okay, say now, machine is made by. See, what is this form? This is very important. Is auxiliary verb, that is be form, plus what is this made? Made is written in past participle. It's not past tense. So make, made, there's no word as made it, right? So make, made is past participle. So you have written be form or auxiliary verb plus past participle. This is a structure of passive voice. So he is made by is an agent. Yarinda machine aitu, man inda anta heladikoskara. So here we have used this agent as by. Okay, by is an agent here, by man. So this is how we have to change that passive voice. See object enaitili, object changes to here, object in the active voice is written as what? Subject in the passive. Object in active voice is written as subject in passive voice. So here the subject will become object here. Object placing over there. So this is the changes. The first change, that is object changes to subject in passive voice. Interchange agutte. Okay. So now only the V3. Second, what is the second point? Second rule of this passive voice, changing active to passive voice, is only the V3, that is past participle form of the verb is used. It will be used, not any other tenses. In yav V form now use madodilla when you are changing to passive voice. Passive voice alli always, do remember, this is very important for your exam. Passive voice alli ನಾವು verb na V3 form alli ade ಅಂದ್ರೆ past participle form allene ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, not in any V form. Okay, so this is what I have to tell. This is the second rule. Example, I have written an example here. Columbus discovered America. I have already told you idralla helbittidini, but still Columbus discovered America. Iga I told you, the very first thing you have to know is that whether the sentence is in present tense or past tense. Iga idu Columbus discovered America anta helidaga, it is an active voice, right? Subject, verb, object. This structure is active voice. Okay, now discovered is past tense. So ಅದು past tense ಆದಾಗ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? See, now first rule ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವೇನು ಕಲ್ತ್ರಿ? ಇಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ passive voice ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So America was discovered by Columbus. See, again this was discovered is be form auxiliary verb plus past participle. It is in past participle. Okay, this is a rule of passive voice. It has to be written in V3 form. V3 is past participle. Write wrote, written. The third one what you say is the past participle. Okay, so was discovered, discover, discovered, discovered. Okay, it's not discovering, it is continuous tense, it's not past participle. So discovered is the past participle. So be form plus past participle by Columbus. By again is an agent in past participle, sorry, in passive voice. So by Columbus. So this is another rule of changing active to passive. First rule is subject become object and object becomes subject in passive voice. And the second rule is that you have to use only V3 form in passive voice. V3 form matra ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಪ್ಲಸ್ what is this auxiliaries ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಪ್ಲಸ್ past participle plus by plus Columbus. So subject. So this is what we have learned. So very first rule is, what is that? You have to the subject and object will be interchanged. And the second rule is that you have to use only V3 form. And what is the third rule? The subject of active is expressed by agents such as by, with, to. Aita? So e subject ideyalla, active passive form ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸಾರಿ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ಅದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So e object, that means subject in that active form, it is expressed by an agent yarinda, yaudrinda. Okay, so ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು by, to, with ಅನ್ನೋಂಥ ಒಂದು ಏಜೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸಿ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ವಾಟರ್ ಫಿಲ್ಸ್ ದ ಟಬ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಫಿಲ್ಸ್ ದ ಟಬ್? Water fills the tub. Tub doesn't fill water, right? So water fills the tub. Now, how can you change this to passive voice? The tub is filled. Look at this again. See, water fills the tub. Fills is present tense, and here you have to write it in again. The form of that be form should be in present tense. Okay, the tub auxiliary verb present tense alle irbeku. Illi fills anta ide, so illi enaytu, illi nodi discovered aitu, so illi was discovered aitu, past tense. It is past tense, and this auxiliary verb should be written in past tense plus past participle. If this verb is in present tense, then it changes to present and plus present plus past participle. Auxiliary verb present tense ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, next past participle ಅಲ್ಲಿ main verb ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So fills is filled with, look here, it's not by water, it's with water, right? It is an agent here, it is working as an agent here. The tub is filled with water. So here active voice ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ when it will be meaningful, ಯಾವಾಗ ಈ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ when you use such agents like by, with, to, when you use such agents it will be more meaningful, right? If you just write it as the tub is filled water, it is not a proper sentence, right? So what is an agent here? The tub is filled with water. That with acts as an agent for the subject or for the object in passive voice. Right? See, illu ashte America was discovered Columbus andre, so it is not a meaningful sentence. Can you write it as America was discovered Columbus? No, there should be some agent. Yarinda, yaudrinda annadu alli word beku. So we use here agent by. Okay, I hope you have understood. And the last one is auxiliary verb would be changed. See, I told you, ನಾನೇನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಾನು ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. auxiliary verb change ಆಗುತ್ತೆ according to the tenses in an active voice. Active voice ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, whether it is written in present tense or past continuous, present continuous, ಅಥವಾ what is it, perfect tense ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀವ, present perfect, past perfect, future tense ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀತಿದ್ದೀವ, ಅದರದೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು auxiliary verbs ನ passive voice ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, right? See, here I have written a ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೆನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ. ಇವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ನ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ಈಗ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ರಿಟನ್ ಇನ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಲುಕ್ ಎಟ್ ದಿಸ್. ದ ಪೊಯೆಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಪೊಯಮ್. ದ ಪೊಯೆಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಪೊಯಮ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಈಸ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದಾಗ what is this? Is writing is what tense? It is present continuous tense, right? The poet is writing a poem is a continuous tense. ಈಗ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ವರ್ಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ನೋ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪೊಯಮ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್. ಲುಕ್ ಎಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್. ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಆಗ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನದು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಹಿಯರ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಆಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪಲ್ ರಿಮೈನ್ಸ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್. ರೈಟ್, ರೋಟ್, ರಿಟನ್. ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಒನ್, V3. Write, wrote, written is past participle. So but what is that added? What is it added here? Being. Yaake being add madidvi? Because it is continuous. If the sentence in active voice is in continuous, you can't write a poem is written by the poet. So if the sentence in active is a poet writes a poem anta idre, aga navu adanna the poem is written by the poet ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಈಸ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್? ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇಟ್ ಟು ಈಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪಲ್. ಅ poem is being written by the poet. I hope you have understood. When you change that active to passive voice, active in the passive voice ಗೆ ನಾವು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದಾಗ these are some of the rules that you people have to follow. The first one is that subject in the active voice becomes object, object becomes subject. So ಈ ತರ ಒಂದು interchanges ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. And the second point you have to remember, so when you change that active voice ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ verb ನ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಬ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಬಿ ರಿಟನ್ ಇನ್ V3 ಫಾರ್ಮ್. ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಬಿ ರಿಟನ್ ಇನ್ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪಲ್, ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಬ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ರಿಟನ್ ಇನ್ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪಲ್. ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪಲ್ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಮೂರನೇದು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಈಗ ರೈಟ್, ರೋಟ್, ರಿಟನ್, ಈಟ್, ಏಟ್, ಈಟನ್. ಸಿ ಈಟ್, ಏಟ್, eat present tense, ate is past tense. What is past participle? Eaten is past participle, right? So that in that form it should be the past what is that passive verb alli. So tense V3 form alle irbeku. Next one is the subject of active is expressed by agents. ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂಥ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಮೂಲಕನೇ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ಲೈಕ್ ಬೈ, ವಿತ್, ಟು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ವರ್ಬ್ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಚೇಂಜ್. ಸಿ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್, ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ವೆದರ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಲಿ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು passive voice. For example, the poet is writing is continuous tense. So what will passive voice alla aden change agutte? The poem is being written by the poet. Ee tara adu changes agutte. Okay, so these are the rules I have taught you today. In the next session I'll teach you more on this active and passive voice. Until then, take care and write this in the notes what I have done today. Thank you.